What is up, folks? Welcome to the latest episode of the Harold McBasketball Show. I'm your gracious host, as always, Harold McBasketball. On my co-host, I know ball, Paul. Paul, episode 2 of the new season. How are you doing? How's France? We see the new background.
Yeah, new background, as you can see. Maybe not as fun as my old background, but maybe I'll add some stuff. But yeah, it's literally a closet door behind me at the moment, so we might reconfigure that setup. But yeah, I'm in Paris. It's been awesome so far. Um, Two fresh new haircuts here on the show to kick off the new season. Fantasy's getting underway. I'm seeing the Instagram posts, the media days. Basketball season is upon us.
Oh yeah, lots of depressing pictures from media day today. Like there was like a Bulls picture that just had no aura. And the Pelicans I was also a little concerned about. I was like, not enough smiles over here, but who knows? Who knows? It's back to school season for them, so maybe it's nothing. But anyway, let's kick off into some big news. Two big news stories actually. Kind of like the biggest one would be obviously the Karl-Anthony Towns trade. So we've got him going to the Knicks, and then the Knicks are sending over a first round draft pick, DiVincenzo and Randle, who we have slandered on this show a million times. First question, Paul, before we even dive into the trade itself, would you rank the Knicks higher now, knowing that they don't have Julius Randle?
Uh, yes, I had them pretty low on my East ranking, and it
I
was
foresaw this.
yeah, I think I had them fifth or something. And it was in large part because I thought their front court depth was horrible. I mean Mitchell Robinson is decent, but I think he was going to miss time, so I think it was Jericho Sims starting.
Yeah, and like they lost Hardenstein to OKC,
I'm a
so they
big
were very
Hartenstein guy.
depleted.
Yeah, and so Karl-Anthony Towns, adding him as a center definitely, I think, moves the needle a little bit. I think we'll talk a little bit about how I feel about his fit there. I don't think it's necessarily like going to move the needle all that much and make them contenders, but we'll see. But yeah, getting rid of Julius Randle, I think, is a plus in terms of chemistry, and Cat will definitely be a better fit than he would have been, I think.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like honestly the first thing I hit on is like addition by subtraction for the Knicks. It just felt like Randall just didn't fit into the offense. He would just take bad shots. He'd take possessions away from Brunson, who was obviously the better person to run the show. So not only just get rid of him, and we were saying last year, maybe I forget if you were also saying this, but I was definitely saying like they need to get rid of Randall. And like it might be one of those things where they just need to like attach a pick to make somebody take Randall. So to get back like a fringe all-star in Cat in this deal is like absolutely insane, I think. I know like not everyone loves Cat. Like some people feel weird about his. Some people think he's empty stats. Some people have seen some poor performances in the playoffs, but I think he's still a good player. Like he's a great addition, good shooter, good offensive player. Had some big moments in the playoffs too, so I like him. I think he's a good addition, but the fact that they were able to get him just for Randall, DiVincenzo, and a pick, I thought was kind of crazy. Because before the trade went down, if you'd asked me that like a team was going to make a move for Cat, I would have expected like still like 4 or 5 first round picks for Cat, and I don't think they got that value back with just one pick, DiVincenzo and Randall.
Yeah, I think I'm a little
Devil's
bit.
advocate for me. If you feel the other way, like please, like debate
I
me a
am
little
a
bit here.
devil's advocate, and listen, I think to offload Randall and get back Cat is definitely a plus. Um, and maybe I should leave it there, but I do think Cat has his weaknesses, and I think DiVincenzo was such an awesome piece. I
He
think
was.
the Timberwolves, this was a financial move. That's what it was. Cat, I think he's on a th 3 more years with a player option. Randall's only 1 year in a player option. DiVincenzo's on an extremely friendly contract, making like 12 million over the next 3 years. So it's a ton of flexibility the Wolves are getting, with a first round pick. I think that's decent return to offload Cat's massive contract and kind of let them like navigate in the apron or whatever. I'm not going to pretend I know exactly what that means, but I know they got rid of $60 million over the next 4 years. So I think that'll, open up stuff. Not Nas Reed is going to be able to kind of find a bigger role there, and yeah, ultimately I'm kind of 50-50 on the trade. I don't think it was necessarily a loss for the Timberwolves there. And I don't think they would have necessarily gotten that much more return because I think Cat is a bit of a his contract is way too big, I think, for what he offers.
Yeah, and that's going to be an interesting thing over like the next few years. Like, I wonder if we'll see more players just get like offloaded into the big markets that can afford to go into the second apron. Because you've seen it a ton now where you see these like pretty good players getting max contracts now. So we'll kind of see how those develop. Because you're right, like this was a big time money move, and like as far as financials go, like it does make sense for the Timberwolves. Yeah, I was like Cat was gonna be making like 61 million or something in 2028, which is like a long time to be paying that much money to somebody being in the second apron as Minnesota, which is obviously a smaller market, but it does feel weird to me like you were just in the Western Conference Finals like with this team and you're blowing it up like you're essentially getting rid of your second best player. That just feels weird to me. I'm like, I don't know. It's like I would have loved to have seen them run it back one more time before deciding they need to move off of Cat's contract because although like this could be a good fit for Randall and like maybe this trade looks better in the regular season if Randall plays really well, I just have my suspicions about Randall and I at least saw enough out of Cat on the Timberwolves to know they can make a deep run. And like if they make this deal and the next year they're like a first round out or even like a second round out, I think people are gonna be a little bit disappointed with the move.
That's for sure. No, it's risky because obviously this has been the most successful season in a long time for the Timberwolves. So, and yeah, I think they will without a doubt fall short of where they got to last year. But I do kind of think that ultimately it wasn't a championship equation there, even though they had that deep playoff run and that um, the Gobert
Yeah.
Cat experiment. I don't know. I think it was not a success in the end, just despite kind of a nice ending there in the deep playoff run.
Yeah,
Um,
they get spanked by the Mavericks. Like odds are like that's a closer series. They're willing to let this ride out a little bit longer, but they did get like destroyed by the Mavs, essentially like ran off the floor by their smaller, faster lineup. So, yeah, maybe they saw that and they were like, as good as this team is, like we have championship expectations, but I don't know if Julius Randle kind of like puts you into that next tier. I think it is like pretty clear this is probably just a financial decision. But I do think DiVincenzo is a little bit lost in this because like he might actually even be the better asset between the two guys. Like he's really good. He wasn't get the playing time in New York anymore after they also traded for Bridges. So all of a sudden he'll have a bigger role in Minnesota. I don't really know exactly how their starting lineup is going to look, but I think there'll probably be more ball handling opportunity for Randall there anyway, since they don't really have a true point guard outside of Mike Conley, who's like almost 40 now. So it's probably a better fit for him there. I think Cat's a fun fit in New York with just this like insane defensive 3-and-D team, even if he's not like an excellent interior defender himself. So
yeah.
I think it's fun. I think they're both like good fits for the teams. It's just like a crazy blockbuster to go down 1 month before the season starts for two teams that were both incredible last year.
Yeah, no, it's been tough to process, but I think as much as Randall is not a great fit anywhere he goes, at least Minnesota, like you said, he'll have some opportunity to score. They're such a great defensive team, and I felt last year that they weren't always super aggressive on offense, and a lot of it fell into Anthony Edwards' hands to make something happen, or Karl-Anthony Towns. I don't want to say hucking. I mean, he's an efficient player, but I think Randall could definitely spark that offense a little bit with how aggressive he is. There's going to be spacing issues next to Gobert, but
Hmm.
DiVincenzo at least kind of replaces Cat's um, 3-point shooting ability. Um,
Yeah, and Randall's not like a terrible shooter. Like I don't know what his shooting percentage is. Like I bet it's like
clo-
34%.
yeah, I think it's 30, 32 maybe. It's
Yeah,
not great.
I'm gonna check that for fun. But yeah, we're not expecting him to space the floor, but I think the trade-off then is like you're getting smaller, you're getting faster. This team's probably be really fun in transition, like because Randall can handle the ball really well. Obviously, like Edwards is an absolute force in transition. So you get them running together instead of like two big centers running up the floor. They're gonna be able to play a lot faster, and I think that should be exciting.
And I don't want to like slander Cat too much. He's an excellent player. He's one of the most efficient big men with the 3-point shooting, obviously. But I watched a lot of Timberwolves, and I had him in fantasy, so
I was gonna say, like, is this like, are you
I
biased because he underperformed for you in fantasy last year? Is that it?
I think that is a little bit part of it, but he's not super aggressive. Like he's not someone that like it feels like he takes advantage of smaller players on him. He's kind of always looking to shoot. He doesn't protect the rim at a particularly high level. And
Yeah.
so New York, they're more of an offensive team. They're a great shooting team. So does his what he adds on shooting, does that kind of get lost in a team that's already got great spacing? And they need someone that, is going to set good screens for Brunson and that's going to defend the rim at a high level. Can Cat really do that? I don't know. I feel like his skill set might get lost a little bit there, but he's a good five at least, so he'll move the needle a little bit. But
Yeah, a big slight of him is that he's always liked to play like a guard essentially, where it's like he wants to get the ball on the 3-point line, he wants to take threes, he wants to make dribble moves and go into pull up mid ranges. And it's like, yeah, you're not getting the low post game, you're not getting like the grittiness that you want out of a starting center. But I'm actually pretty bullish on the fit. Like at the end of the day, he's just like a really talented offensive player, and he's probably going to average well
yeah,
over 20 plus points per game for the Knicks next year on a team that does have other incredible offensive players, but I think he is immediately the second best offensive player on that team. And he gets rebounds and he's big. And I don't think you can ever have enough floor spacing on a team. Like it never hurts to have a 3-point shooting center.
right.
So I think he's gonna be really good for them. I think the Knicks are already going to be a really good team. So I think the narrative is gonna be very pro Cat this year because I think the Knicks are just gonna be winning games. So it's gonna be hard not to acknowledge that he's like doing his part, even if they were going to be that good anyway.
Yeah, I tend to be a bit more pessimistic for whatever reason. I think he's going to have a great season, but I think the Knicks are not going to feel like contenders by the end of the regular season, and I think I don't see them making the Eastern Conference Finals. But we'll see. We'll see. And the Knicks have some versatility. They have some great defenders like OG and Mikal to surround Cat with. So, um, you know, I don't think they'll be a bad team by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm bullish. Like I think this makes them a lot better. I mean, I already had them as like the second seed, so I think they're legit. It's like I don't like last year they were good, but last year I don't think that they were real contenders. This year I think it kind of like puts them up a tier, but like I still don't view them as like true competition against a team like the Celtics. I don't view them as contenders, but I do view them as like a very legitimate Eastern Conference Finals team.
I'll push them to fourth. I'll let them take the Cavs over, but I'm not willing to say that they're in the tier with the Sixers or the Pacers, which I'm very bullish on those two teams.
All right, deal. All right, anything else you want to touch on for this before we go to my other breaking news story that we have not mentioned yet that I think is worth talking about?
Um, no, no, I think I'm still excited to watch the Wolves. I'll still be watching them, and we love Dante, so I'm excited to see him
Absolutely.
keep having a great role there. I'm not
Yeah.
sure what the next breaking news is, but I think I have a feeling it might be.
Do you want to guess?
I assume it's maybe the Zach Lowe.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
That's insane, first off. Second off, Zach, if you're looking for a new podcast home, um, we would totally hire you as a third analyst if you'd like to join the pod. You are more than welcome. But that was kind of crazy. We only spent too much time on it, but it's like, he's obviously like the basketball podcasting goat. Who got me into it? Probably the same for you. I think you put me on Zach Lowe a couple of years ago. He's the best. So I can't believe ESPN let him go. That just like blows my mind.
Yeah, I don't know the details of that. I know Disney has been making some crazy cuts there, but yeah, I think yeah, Zach is awesome and hopefully they know what they lost there. I mean, I guess I was never super into what he was doing on TV, but I think the podcast was under the ESPN umbrella and
It
that is
was.
my favorite, basketball podcast and
Yep.
yeah, come work
Power
for us,
vacuum
Zach.
though.
And
Power
I
vacuum for us is skyrocket to the top, man. The top pod is gone.
and we can be humble and maybe we would go work for you, Zach. We would consider that as well.
Yeah, certainly an option. I think it was also like a financial thing where they're like, they're paying him a lot of money. They're trying to, essentially get like they're paying like Stephen A a ton now. They're paying Pat McAfee a ton. So it's like I think they're kind of just like pushing all their money. It's like a couple of big guys, and I think like the rest they're like we can kind of go cheaper on some of like the surrounding cast. I think that's like ultimately how they decided to do it. But I don't know. It's a big loss for the basketball community. Kind of like losing like the TNT crowd. Like we get it. We know there's like money at play. It's more than just like we like them or we don't like them. But tough year for basketball hosts that we were very fond of.
Yeah, no, he's truly like such a pleasure to listen to and the guests he bring on. If he is a basketball mind and a basketball purist, so
Yeah, he'll be
ESPN.
fine though. He'll either go independent with his pod or he'll just join up with Bill Simmons on The Ringer, who used to be his old boss at ESPN like years and years ago. So he'll be just fine. He'll just have a new podcast name, I'm sure.
Yeah, I will always listen to the Goat Sacklow, but yeah, I guess that's the news. Those are the breaking stories. Um, we'll go on and make our West Power rankings, but let us know what you thought of the trade. I guess in summary, I think the Knicks get a little bit better. I get why the Timberwolves did it despite it being kind of a risky play in terms of coming off such a good season, but excited to see Naz Reid get more minutes. Donte DiVincenzo, Rob Dillingham, like it opens up a lot for some other guys as well. So it'll be super exciting to watch both teams.
Absolutely. And it's always exciting to see like new faces on new teams because it just makes me more intrigued to watch these teams to see how that pans out. So I will be tuning into both teams a lot this year. I'm excited to see how it goes. And yeah, drop in the comments. Who do you think won the trade? Knicks or Wolves? Take your pick.
Awesome. And check out the Western Conference Power rankings that we will be dropping soon after this video.
Yep, coming next. Stay tuned.
Peace and love.